up to speed, up to speed, up to speed.
Live from the apocalypse! You never thought you'd cry because of the president's tweets, but you were wrong. This is State of the Game. Um, I am inherently Dano, Free Music Empire, uh, you know, and I have at my desk Polo Club Special fingernail and toenail clippers.
Mm.
Keep them with me, give the world away. Just a little bit for the people out there, for the heads who were like, "What's your life like?" Boom, there you go. Um, there you go. And the some my co-host has been described as, uh, God, as riveting as season 3 of The Wire.
Mm. It's very kind of whoever
Yeah,
described me that way.
as riveting as season 3 of The Wire. Yeah, and we have some fabulous guests here today that are more interesting than season 2 of The Wire. Uh, we this is a Hate Island celebration, man. I would love to be. I would love to be like. There's a lot of good independent reviews happening about it, right? Um, Secret House Against just dropped a really dope review. I made it through Professor Sky's review. I fucking hate his sense of humor. I absolutely hate his sense of humor. Every joke you ever made makes me shake my fist, Professor Scott. But well done. But like, it's a lot of people being like, "Wow, this Teller Banks," you know. So, as an old seasoned Teller Banks person, this is a little bit of a celebration for me to the victory. But yes, I had to bring in the big guns, Kay. You know, this is we're getting the crew together. It's like when they on one of those shows like Supernatural where they're like killing demons and they call people in, other hunters. These are our hunters here. Man, I just lost so many cool points from that.
Nah.
But
No, I just feel like this is the first Teller Banks album I listened to. So I was going in here being like, oh, I'll get put onto some game. Everybody here knows who he is. So I hope I do not disappoint in my big gunness because, pause.
SonRaw is here. SonRaw hears everything. Very excited to have you. Uh, just explore these sounds with us. There's so much to talk about. And one of the people, I have this short list in my head, Kay,
Mm.
of people who I would be like, fuck it, open up a third chair and just let him be here every week.
Mm.
Dash Lewis is one of those people.
I'm honored. Thank you.
So
Always happy to be here.
thank you for being here. Uh, yeah. So Hate Island uh, is a real thing. Is a real thing. We should just go and just go raw reactions first. Sun Ra, what was your reaction to it when you heard it?
Well, before I heard it, I saw that positive reaction you were talking about. I saw Dash tweet about it, Zilla, yourself. Like I saw a lot of people who I know and respect that were talking about a rapper whose name I'd seen around. But if I'm being totally honest, I've been mostly digging for samples and dealing with my own music for the past couple of years. So I haven't been up on the new names. And I was like, okay, everybody likes this. I'm either gonna love it or it'll be the complete opposite. Because when it comes to underground rap, I'm like a very picky
Mhm,
person. It has to be
mhm.
just right. And what struck me immediately was, okay, this is political, but it's some gangster shit. And that is an area that I'm very comfortable in. There's way too many underground rappers that sound like sociology textbooks, and I don't really fuck with that. And on the other hand, like, it's 2026, you got to talk about something. You can't just be spitting mindlessness. And, listening to the record, it really hit me that, all right, there's some lived experience and he's using that to say some real interesting shit. And yeah, that was my first reaction. That, and like obviously like musically, the flow's right, the voices are right, the beats are right. It's like that's all you need. It's like it's not you don't need to do it super complicated, but you got to make sure all those ingredients are right and in the right proportions. And I was just, I kept playing it back. It was one of those things where I was like, okay, this has staying power. And then I was like, all right, let me actually listen to it, like really looking at, I think you put like the lyrics to half the album up online. And I was like, okay, let me actually like really focus on this. And it seemed to reward that. So, nothing but positivity for me. I was, y'all were right, basically.
Oh, Dash. What was it? How did you feel with Hate Island?
I mean, I was really looking forward to it. I thought Drug Money was really something. I had been I've been paying attention to Teller for I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years now, and really liked a lot of stuff. Was iffy on some stuff. He had never quite fully clicked for me. Um, it was not until Loose Leaves came out, which was in December of 2024, which
Mm.
is fully, I think, fully self-produced. Where I was like, oh, this dude is really hitting a stride. And then he put out Black Man with Wino Willie, which I thought was really, really good.
Oh, that's a great one. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this guy is someone to pay attention to. I really like the stuff that he does with McKinley Dixon, even if I'm kind of iffy on those records. And then Drug Money happened, and I was like, all right, he's he's found he's found something here. He's really started to click. And so when they were teasing Hate Island, which I don't know if we knew the title for a while, but when they were doing the promo stuff for Drug Money, they were like, they were saying that they were already working on the second one and it was even better. And like everyone says their next record is even better, but I think it's just even better. So my first listen, I was ready for it. And I think I've listened to it like 12, 13 times since it came
Mhm,
out.
mhm,
And I
mhm.
can't stop. It's really, really something. It's a very, very rewarding listen.
That's
Hmm.
awesome.
So, so
And
I wasn't familiar with this project before we started researching the show. I remember Dano, you had the background, you had the
yeah,
covers with the
last
back.
week. Last week, yeah.
Yeah, and I just before I heard this project, I thought that was a picture of Kanye. I was like, I don't know why he's doing that. But then when I heard the album along with, yeah, it looked a lot like Kanye to me for some reason. I thought it was a great cover, one of the best covers of the year so far,
Mhm.
and I think that it matches kind of the tone of the music. Uh, the question I wanted to ask her, like, what are some of the like you're saying that a lot of people are talking about it.
Yep.
What are some of the narratives that are going around regarding the project?
Man, there's so much. Well, first of all, there's a lot of bar sharing going on, Kay.
Yeah.
Like, because there's so much in this in
Mm-hmm.
terms of the rapping, right? Um, so there's a lot of like, oh my God, did you hear how he started the album? Like with the Disney characters? Did you hear like there's just so many people sharing that. And I think one of the because I'm starting to spread narratives too, okay. I'm polluting the whole system. But like one of the narratives, and I actually put this out was like Rent Money is their Beanie Siegel.
Mm.
And I want that to be the case. I want Rent Money to be able to go on this crazy run, and this click to kind of grow. Um, and that's the part of the question is like, so there's this new thing with all these people. Where does it go? Because they're not on the label.
I was I guess one of the things that struck me was like the production team, them working on the beats.
Yep,
I don't
yep.
know if on these ones they worked on them together, but I know that on Drugs they worked on them together. It wasn't like one guy doing one song, another guy doing another song.
Mhm.
And that to me was interesting because you don't see it as much in underground hip hop. It's not like the usual MO. So just kind of being able to dig into the beats and knowing that like, oh, it was a couple of people's visions, but at least to my ears, it was like more sample based or, traditional beat making. It wasn't like a bunch of people with instruments in a room. That was kind of interesting. Just by changing the method, you change the output, and that made it kind of unique. And then shout out Rowan. I checked out one of his old interviews on Rap Music Plug,
Yep,
and
yep.
apparently he used to play. I can't remember if it was trumpet or sax, but he was in a band and he
Oh
knew
yeah.
some jazz. And I was like, oh, now a lot of this makes sense to me musically because you have the word component of it, but the flow is just as interesting. And it's, especially in the underground space, it tends to be lyric first. But if you're doing something interesting with how you're presenting those words, it, can kind of really elevate what you're doing. And I think that's the sense that what I got from just these recent projects.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, so we should list the production team, right? We've had one of them. Well, actually, we've had two, right? Killer Kane. We did a Killer Kane episode because Killer Kane's awesome. We had Kuno Rap Name on the big end of year. So that's two of those. Ayashi is a real hidden component, really important person. Phil Spector. Um, and Teller Banks is a producer and engineer, mixing, mastering. So I think did I leave anybody out, or that does that make sense?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think that's right.
we can. Yeah, so that's and to your the way I kept thinking about it, SonRaw, well, because they've talked about it. I think Dylan Green had them on Real Notes,
Mm,
and they were talking about the process around drug money, right? And they were saying they go over somebody's house, right? And like whoever's house they go over to kind of runs that session, you know? The whoever started that beat kind of runs that session. Um and they think of it like kind of a jazz band, right?
mm,
I was thinking of it more like a writer's room.
Mm.
mm. Yeah, everybody drops in their one line, like tighten it up. Like, yeah, I can see it. To me, it's I mean, generalizing from self, which is a terrible thing to do. Like, my beat making tends to be like a really solitary practice. Like, I'm in my studio and it's like, all right, the beat's like 90% done, send it to someone. It either turns into a track or not. I'm always really interested in how that works because it's you obviously don't have four people like hovering over a mouse, like, like, yo, add a hi-hat here, but at the same time, there has to be a way to add that, feedback in a way that you're being constructive. So to me, that was an interesting thing to find out. I don't know how it plays out in real life, but I'd be fascinated to find out.
So Dash, how do these knowing that they have that writer's room mentality, how does the beat come out differently for the consumer, for the person listening to it? How does it sound different to you?
Well, I think something that I think is really interesting about their production is how it never sits still. And like you get a little bit of that on Drug Money. I mean, all these guys are really good. Like they met because they were part of the Philly Flip a Beat Club chapter. I remember seeing some of them do, I was up there for some show, I think it was the Shrapnel and Lungs and Feek show, and two of them, or maybe three of them, I can't remember which one. I think Phil Spector was part of it. Q might have been part of it. They just were doing an opening set as the Philly Flip a Beat Club. But they were doing it kind of like sort of a back-to-back DJ set. Like there's someone would start a beat, it would fade out, where they would just immediately transition to someone else playing their 404. And knowing that they're all going to someone's house and they're sitting down and they have like maybe someone has a sample or someone has a drum sound and then they're kind of tweaking stuff. None of these beats rest on a single loop or even maybe a single like drum pattern. They all kind of like it's just all shifting sands, and I think that that's really interesting. Probably is very interesting for a rapper to try to tackle. I don't know how much Teller was in the sessions with them, or if he would like write and then go to Philly and do stuff sort of after they had come up with something. But it feels really dynamic. It feels like these beats all breathe a lot. Like you do not end up at the same place that you started from. And so you might have an idea. Like why am I blanking on the name of the first song? When that starts, it's got the second tower, that's what it's called. When that starts, it sounds like, okay, we're just gonna get another kind of like post Griselda grimy boom bap thing. And it's got this kind of, warbly tape, left out in the sun feeling. And then the bass comes in and drowns everything else out. And then it just goes off into this other weird black hole. And every single song does that. And so you never feel like, at least for me, I never feel like I get a chance to get comfortable, but I never feel like I'm left behind. I think that's a really interesting way to structure something.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's fair.
And it's like it's easy, I find anyway, to overdo that, and then you kind of lose the listener's ear. You're into like free jazz territory, which if that's intentional can be really great. But if it's unintentional, which I feel a lot of the times it can be, it can really like train wreck the momentum of a song. And I was impressed that never happened here. It has that shifting feeling, but it's still like it can come home and it can like, you always have like George Clinton would call it the one, but they're not doing that here because they're actually trying to avoid those patterns. But you still have that sense that you're coming back on the one, even though if there's not like a drum beat on it or a necessary thing, it still has that somewhat loopy structure, even though it's shifting the whole way through.
Them calling it a jazz band and knowing Teller's background with his musical training, it really does feel like this is why I'm very fascinated to know how often he was in the sessions with them. It sounds like he's listening, it sounds like they're improvising together and he is reacting in the moment and like shifting his flow, shifting the timbre of his voice, sort of like, elbowing into a new pocket. I mean, I remember, I think on when, shout out to Roe again, when he had them on the Rap Music Plug podcast,
Mhm.
Q was saying that often, like in these sessions, one of them would like fall asleep and then wake up and just like nudge something on Ableton, and then it would shift everything over just a little bit. And like imagining what that would do for you as a rapper is fascinating. And like Teller always reacts. He always reacts.
Yep.
You never hear him react. It's just like he does it. He's there. He's following along. He's like completely tapped in the whole time.
Yeah. And you can you can see those guys online like referring to him as a mentor,
Mm.
uh, because he's the pace setter. He's high energy and incredibly thoughtful, and he's done everything involving this already, you know. So he's got lots of tips and tricks to help out. Um, it's okay. You were talking about narratives, right?
Yeah.
I want to give you the primary narrative people are saying when reviewing Hate Island, right?
Okay.
The primary narrative is, and there's what they say and what they imply. Both are important, right? What they say is, golly gee, this is a street rapper who, says if you haven't won a knife fight, you're not like me. Crazy shit, right? The titillation of violence is there, but we get these incredibly thoughtful breakdowns uh, about American life, about political life, about you know economics, and about all the. We're getting all of our like good food and our bad food, and it's just great, you know. So they're like, and there's different levels of that being positive and insulting, right? Of like, Oh wow, there's a smart street kid. Okay, I mean there's lots of smart street kids, but um, what they imply is really interesting. Then none of them are going to say it because you'd be fucking nuts to say it, which I'm going to say it right now. So, um, Teller is the bridge between two groups of people who don't fucking like each other. Fans of Flea Lord hate
Mm,
will hate when you talk about Open Mike Eagle being great, right? Like it's just what's going to happen, right?
not me.
These
I
are two
fuck with both
different.
those guys.
No, I'm just yeah.
Which puts me in a very small Venn diagram, I know, but I was
You
like,
are
how
very
dare
much
you,
in that
sir?
very tight. But yes, there's lots of people. There's that like standard like hard nosed rap fan that digests all those names you can think of, right? Ito, Flea Lord, Ransom, all that stuff. Um, Boldy, right? You'd still put Boldy in that. Um, but then you have the people who you would put in art rap, right? You would like Mike and Kelly Chris and Cavalier and like so these are considered two forces that have not gotten along very well because the street rap contingent thinks that the other side thinks they're fancy. You think you're fucking fancy because you listen to Billy Woods and you got the references. Well, fuck you. You ain't better than me. So there's that side. And there's the other side that's like, you guys are listening to repetitive shit. You guys aren't exploring new ideas. You guys aren't being vigilant.
This is fascinating to me because it like I 100% believe you because I'm on Twitter and I see that every day, but it goes so contra I mean, I am a contrarian to a certain point, but it's like I'm the sort of person who'll be like, "Oh yeah, Billy Woods is my favorite rapper." If I get in a 5 minute conversation at a Billy Woods show, I will want to backhand someone because they will say some absolutely like some shit where like I'm out, like this
Yeah.
is not gonna happen. We're not gonna get on. Like it's
Mhm.
like I always say that Billy Woods is the best rapper to inspire the most terrible rappers in a generation. Because there was like he is like it is unfathomable to me how a like Jamaican Zimbabwean like guy with all this lived experience could inspire like the white college undergrad to be like, I can do this. I can
Oh
put out a rap
wow.
album.
The
And
NYU student picked up the mic.
to
Oh
a
my
T,
God.
everyone that I've been sent has been some of the worst music of any genre that
Yeah.
I've heard in my life. It's like, and I hate to put that all on him. That is not his fault any more than it's NWA's fault that there was
Oh,
like
yeah.
a load of gangster rap after them, which is all better than these albums I'm telling you about. Like even the most like find me any mid '90s like between Houston and LA CD where it's like a Polaroid of a guy in front of his car on the cover. It will be better rap music than the stuff I'm talking about.
I'm with you. No, I've gotten it. I get you. I understand
But
it.
like the point is like I think I really like this album because it brings those two things that are necessary to me almost to make good rap music. And I'm not saying like everybody has to have a gangster component. I'm a huge Open Mike Eagle fan. He dropped my favorite album last year. Seeing him on tour next month, like dude like loves There Might Be Giants. It's like
Mhm.
and there's absolutely there needs to be more room for people like that. But it helps, it helps a little bit with some people where it's or the lack of it might be like a disqualifying factor for some people is what I'm saying.
Right. It's not like, and I want to make sure that I was being clear. Like those are narratives, right? And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
I'm not
they're
saying
gonna.
that's your view. No, no, no.
I love all my food groups. Trust me. Like I love all my food groups. Um, yeah. I mean, whenever anyone says 10-17, I yell Brick Squad to this fucking day. To this fucking day. So, um, I will not be fancy, but sometimes I am fancy. Look at my fucking cardigan. So I'm so that, but that's the push and pull, like of those dynamics, and Teller laces the middle, like laces the middle. And Professor Sky brought up a great point. God, I hate that sentence. So fucking much. But he brought up a point, great point about how Teller changes the lens of like where the story's being told from. Sometimes it's him telling what he believes. Sometimes he flips it and he's doing a character, and like he walks you into images from different angles. But he's never doing it in a way that's meant to confuse you. There are some MCs, great MCs, who I've always felt when they sit down to write are trying to perplex me. The same way video game designers are trying to make the game hard, so I sit with it for a long time.
I think Teller even knows it. I mean, he's got a song on Drug Money called "Look, Mom, I'm Billy Woods."
Yeah. Yeah.
He understands this dynamic and is kind of taking the piss out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, name drops a Lucid on this. What is the line? He's like,
100%.
"My bitch pops a tab, got her talking like a Lucid."
Talking like a
Yeah.
lucid, yeah.
I love that line.
Amazing moment. And you can tell that he respects Lucid a lot, but he's also like, it's great.
Like I I always wonder if someone one day would drop an album that really looks at the sheer dynamic of like the underground scene and like how all these class and race things go. Because it's like there's so much that doesn't get said because like everyone's trying to have like a music career, which is hard as shit in
Right.
2026,
Right.
and like you don't necessarily want to say what's unsaid, but there's like it feels like there's this really rich vein for the right artist to do it, and if the wrong artist would do it, it would just like fall flat. It's almost like comedy in the sense where it's like it's in the delivery, it's in how you can present it and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and by the way, I think the way forward, if we want to bridge those groups being more cordial to each other, right? The way forward is for you to be like, Armand Hammer pisses me off. I don't like that shit. That's fine. But don't say they suck or they're bad at their job. That's
Mm,
that's when you start getting getting crazy, right? Like I made fun of Flea Lord earlier. Flea Lord's a great rapper. Flea Lord raps and is great at it. You might find some people might find it repetitive, some people might find it incredibly original. Find it however you want to find it. But that's a talented person, right? Like I think that's more of that, more tact would be nice. But
So I have a question. So you're separating the groups into art rap and street rap. Is that
I think that's
okay?
rough. Yeah.
Now, when someone who's a fan, what is his name? Fly Lord? Is that
Flea
Cleveland.
Lord. Yep.
Flea
Yep.
Lord? When someone is a fan of Flea Lord, how are they listening to Flea Lord's music? What are they listening to? What are they looking for? What are they getting out of it? Do you think?
I think there's a connected lineage of Griselda, right? There's a connected lineage of all those cats. And like they've created a genre, right?
No. Oh, okay. Maybe let me suspect. Like, what is a Flea Lord listener? How would you define that?
I just look at it like there's this lineage of like specifically New York
Yeah.
hardheads, like from Tim Dog to Fat Joe to like kind of like French, but probably more like Chinks if I'm being real about it. Like you have like, they're not necessarily people who are gonna rap the alphabet at you like, like a Lucid,
Right.
but it's the guy on the block and like, everybody likes him. He's got charisma, he's putting words together, and you want to see that guy win because he's your guy. He's just a normal dude, and it's like there's that approachability where it's like, oh, I could be like I can't really imagine myself like being too many people, but you're like, oh, I could be that guy. He's not that
There's
different
more
from me, whoever
personality.
you are. Yeah.
So yeah, you would think so. Think about it, but and like I used to call it New York goon rap, but then they changed what goon meant, and it's all dirty now. But like so, think about it in back in the day terms, right? it would be like somebody saying, "Man, I'd rather listen to Cameron than Nas."
Hmm.
Mm.
Right? Like Nas, that's cool, like you got, smart, got all the references, but Cam's going crazy and it's fun as shit, right? Like,
Mm.
and so, and he still has shit to say, like, so it's not, so it's kind of that difference. It's that lineage, right?
Mm.
From
And then,
Cameron to
yeah,
Vado on down the line.
and then I guess the flip side would be, so the art rap. How do art rap listeners listen? What are they listening to for when they listen to open mic? What do they get out of listening to him?
Yeah.
Well, this is the part where I feel it depends on what your personal experiences you're bringing to it. Because the last time I saw last time I saw Open Mike Eagle live, he was opening for like a rock band, like I guess like
Yeah,
a dance punk band or something.
yeah.
And he played completely different songs that I knew. Like he's got a deep catalog. But I instantly got like, oh, okay, this is your rock band set because the crowd who wasn't there for him, he was opening, like they were digging it. They're like, oh, this guy's playing beats on stage and he's rapping, but he's singing hooks that I can kind of sing along with.
Hmm.
And I was there, I was like, oh, that is like a very strategic set to bust out to like, as a working musician, like that's what you kind of got to do
Right.
to make it work. But if you're like someone who's been listening to De La Soul, since the 80s, you're going to bring something very different to his albums than like the average person in that room. And I do say the average person because one guy had an Anticon shirt and he clearly came just for Mike. And I was like, oh, shout out that guy.
Yep. No, the dopamine on the other side, okay,
Yeah.
is hearing something you can't hear anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like the goon rap, the hardcore stuff that has a deep lineage. It's been done a lot of different ways over time, but a lot of times it's not necessarily going to surprise you.
That's fair.
But like when I heard Death Fame for the first time, and I just kept playing Alive Ain't Always Living over and fucking over and fucking over. Like, that's the feeling of like, fuck. Or hearing like qualifiers by
Mm.
Open Mike Eagle or just any, I mean, my favorite Open Mike Eagle song is Very Much Money. That's like, I can listen to that song 10 times in a row without ever wanting anything to change because it's so different. The perspective is so different. The delivery is so unique. Like I think that's the dopamine of like finding something that is, you know, absolutely
Something new.
yeah,
Innovative. Innovation is the
yeah.
okay. Okay.
I think there's also maybe like a lingering hangover of the early 2000s where everything was like so technical focused. There was such an emphasis on like multisyllabic rhymes and like
Mhm.
flows. The flows were all maybe kind of the same. Like I guess the thing I can think about it is like MOP's Warriors and Reflection Eternal's Train of Thought came out the same year, and those were wildly different audiences. And they
Mhm.
came together because Move Something and Annie Up have a similar feeling, but like that's where it ends. I think that there's still like this idea that some people, like the most annoying Woods fans on Reddit, there was that Reddit post that went around underground rap Twitter that
Oh,
was like
right.
some kid was just like, every time I listen to Billy Woods, I think every other rapper's terrible. And it's like, well, you're just the most incurious person in the world then. But it's because they think that the ultimate expression of rap music is being the most lyrical or having this like these quadruple entendres and these sort of like it manifested as like really like the cannabis style punchlines or like what we used to call super scientifical back then. Um,
Yeah.
and there's still, I mean, it's not as prevalent now, but I think that that still exists. There's still this idea that like you're not making real hip hop unless you're being like the most lyrical.
There's
Yeah,
there's
I'm sure
also like building on that, there are people that just have negative, they walk into it with negative stereotypes about hip hop, and then they hear surprise, surprise, they hear a black man that challenges their stereotypes, and they don't react to it in a way that's graceful or that makes them realize that maybe they're the ones that have to do some soul searching and that they were wrong. It's like, oh no, this person is exceptional, and I can keep my worldview of how I listen to music, and I can go back to like listening to Angine de Poitrine, like safe in knowing that I have the good tastes. You know what I mean?
And I
Also,
became, yeah,
I totally bought those two CDs at HMV, Reflection Eternal and Warriors. Like
yeah.
October of 2000, I was 16, and they both, like, one of them was like, oh, I need to get more earth tones in my wardrobe, and the other one was like, oh, I need to get a pair of Tims. Like,
Yeah.
Shout out to
But you're gonna
episode
wear a bubble coat no
291.
matter what.
oh, you have to up here. It was fucking freezing.
Yeah.
Shout out to episode 291 with B Dolan. Tune in for the MOP story. But yeah, so we got, yeah, but that's, I mean, that's a real
I had
thing.
a question
Go for
actually.
it. Yeah, go for it.
Like
Yeah.
building on like this, there's like when I was listening to Teller Banks, there were two artists that it like I wouldn't say that like he reminded me of exactly, but I was like, if I had to, put two others next to him, like recommended if you like, the two names that kept coming up were Chris Crack and Luca, who
Ooh.
are
Ooh, this is
also
good.
artists where I'm like, I don't know where I would put them on that. I don't think I could put them on either side. It makes it more of a gradient when you put names like that into play. Um, Also, I guess like Chris Crack is also from the Midwest. Luca's obviously from the South. It kind of got me thinking because like Tyler Banks is from Iowa.
Yeah, Des
I
Moines,
don't
Iowa. Yeah, that's,
I
yeah,
don't think I've ever heard anyone from Iowa that's not Slipknot. And my Slipknot listening is very limited.
that's fair. That's fair. I mean, so yes, whenever there's two opposites like that, there's always people caught in the middle, right? There's always a bunch of people caught in the middle at different levels. And I think that's been, and that's been one of the things I've been trying to write about with Teller forever. Like I wrote that when he had that year where he dropped like 5 albums or in one year,
The last
and
year, I don't. Every year it feels like he drops 5 albums. I'm just, I don't know.
and I and all at different prices. One of it was $100, one was 25. It was just all, it was wild. And I heard all of them, and I wrote this incredibly long thing. I made a chart. Like I had this whole breakdown, and the basic crux of it was Teller Banks is capable of doing way more than you think he can do. If you love him for the Ed Glorious stuff, and you think he's like your next guy of like essential old school hip hop, he's that. One of his personalities is that, right? But like he's also gonna float over trap beats. He's also gonna, you know, sing, over funk. Like he's got lots of shit he's gonna do and should do. Um, and he's gonna mix it up. So I was trying to prepare people for the skill set that I knew was there. Um, but yeah, so that's one of the so that the narrative on top is, oh wow, this guy does all these things, right? Then the convert is these things have split apart, and this guy's kind of giving us all of it, which is nice. Um, but that's, I don't know. I've got different takeaways that are a little different. But did I miss any narratives that you've seen out there, Dash?
No, I don't think so. I think that kind of nails it. I think that people are what I'm seeing and is that it seems like people are kind of blown away by this and they're not sure what to do with it.
Mhm.
Like this, to a lot of people, I think this came out of Hate Island came out of nowhere. If you've been paying attention to Teller Banks, it feels like sort of a culmination, apotheosis, perhaps. Hopefully not, but like, it feels like he's been building to this. There was an unreleased album that he sent out to a few people, and I think it's since disappeared, but it was like all self-produced, like booming trap beats, and it was filled with auto-tune, and the shit was awesome. I think I've lost track of it at this
Yeah.
point. But he really can do everything, and I think like he doesn't exist in an easily classifiable sense, and so people are extra blown away by it because they're like, what do I put on next?
Right.
What was I listening to before, and how does that relate to this? And I don't know where to go next.
Yeah. And so
I,
my favorite thing, so my number one takeaway, okay, of this, right? Because having followed Teller Banks for years and years and years, I had one fear about him, right? And this is not founded on any personal experience. I don't know him, right? Like this is just what was in my head. Because Teller has done it all himself, has rapped, written, produced, mixed, mastered his own shit for years and years. I was worried he would become Tony Montana in the hot tub and be like, fuck everybody else. You know what I mean? And like um and it would be harder for him to give up some of that control. Like how is he gonna talk with a label when he's been successfully doing this by himself? Fuck off, right? This Hate Island, the biggest takeaway for me is, and this is one of the things we've talked about on this show, Kay. It doesn't matter if you have a label. It matters if you have a team.
mm,
I always wanted him to have a team, and he has it. He has it. And Q has done an excellent job of running the media stuff and managing people's wants to talk to them and poking at people who haven't said anything yet and tagging people and being like, "What's up?" You know? Um, so that's like having these partners that he trusts and is on the same page, um, and he can still call the shots. And now it's just more powerful. You're just feeling it reverberate more because one is a lonely place to be.
I was really interested that you talked about the like Q running the media and like getting the word out and stuff. I thought it was really interesting that the scene can still, and I mean, underground rap success being what it is, it's like, you know, a low amount of fans with a high amount of disposable income that are buying like premium merch, but you can still quote unquote blow up someone so they can reach that next level of the career, whatever it may be, because it's been a few years since it's been almost 10 years since Paraffin. It's been even
Yeah.
longer than that since Fly God. It's been even longer than that since Brick Body Kids or whatnot. And it's like you start to wonder, especially because the artists are, much like the people in this room, like, not, 20-year-olds anymore or anything. You
Sure.
start to wonder if you're going to like hit like, bedrock where it's like, we've ran out of like really dope rap artists that didn't get a chance in their 20s and that are now, you know, finding success as an adult. And it's like, oh, no, wait, there's some new people coming out and still doing some interesting stuff. That's always really encouraging to me as a listener
Yeah.
because, you want this shit to continue and it's not like there's a ton of outside money being pumped into it,
Yeah, there's
if
always
any.
levels, right? There's always levels. Yep. What were you saying? Was somebody else saying something? But yeah, no, it's been incredible to watch. But yeah, and you're right. Since somebody mentioned earlier that like, they dropped drug money, it was getting all this love, and they're like, wait till you hear Hate Island, and they kind of just kept teasing it piece by piece, piecemealing it, and they dropped everything exactly when it should be dropped. You know what I mean? You get the advances, like you don't know the cover yet, boom, boom, boom. Um, and they figured it out. So it was really well paced. There was months. There was at least like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months of what about Hate Island? Uh, it wasn't consistent. It wasn't a consistent drum beat, but it was there. and that's patience, that's game planning. So like that, I have to give love for that. Um,
That same energy that Nicholas Craven had for Fair Exchange No Robbery,
that's
where
right.
Right.
every single tweet was just like Fair Exchange No Robbery out now for months and
Yeah.
months and months.
Yep. And it's like that's the energy the whole team has, right? Like Rent Money is doing that shit. Like everybody's involved is doing that shit. It's teamwork is just better. Like a lot of times. If you have the right team, right? If you have the right team. So that's my thing is like, oh, this brilliant talent finally has a team because there's so many incredibly talented people that never find a team.
Facts.
And I wish they had a team, you know? Um, so what are you gonna do? But yeah, that's my takeaway here. Kay, how did you feel comparing Drug Money to Hate Island?
I mean, I remember Drug Money. I think we talked about Drug Money. I liked this project better than Drug Money. Uh, I just don't know. It's funny that you mentioned you were talking about people don't know what to do with it. I just don't know what to do with it. Like I like it, and there are some really brilliant and bright moments on it in terms of like creativity, but I just don't know what to do with it, which is what I've come across a lot in terms of when we talk about modern underground hip hop. I like the projects. I just don't know what to exactly to do with it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to sit with it, man, because there's a lot. There's a lot going on. Yeah, I have so many theories. So, Drug Money versus Hate Island. What do you think, Dash? What do you got?
Hate Island, definitely. Drug
What is
Money
the
is great,
difference?
and
Yeah,
what's the difference?
yeah. How do you feel about
I,
the differences? Yeah,
I, I mean, Drug Money was seemed like a bunch of people who were excited to work together, making whatever felt natural. And then Hate Island sounds like they took a hard listen to the Drug Money sessions and was like, we need to double down on the things that work. We need to like this is a good workflow for us. This is like Teller's inspired by these things. Let's get out of there's a lot of piano loops on Drug Money, which
Yeah.
sound cool, but there's way less of them on Hate Island. It gets the palette is much more expanded. It seems like the what's the metaphor I'm looking for? I don't know. It's a more widescreen version of what they were doing on Drug Money. Teller sounded more inspired on Drug Money than I think he sounds with anybody else. Um, and they were right to just kind of capitalize on that chemistry and those feelings. And it brought, I think I don't know, that production crew is able to bring something out of him. He even says so in interviews that he's done, where like he doesn't know sort of where some of these things come from, but what these guys are doing musically is really just allowing him to access something he hadn't been able to access before. And Hate Island just feels like not only it's beyond hitting a stride. They've really found something special together, which is not a super eloquent way to put it, but it just feels like there's something really intangible about Hate Island that I don't get from a lot of other things. I think it's why I keep going back to it. It's why I love that Sideshow record so much, which I think
right.
to go back to what we were saying before, I think that's another one of those records that is confusing to some people because it does sort of walk those same lines of what is uh what is the more acceptable version of underground hip hop or whatever. But
T Gray Funk, absolutely.
yeah, it there's I think I lost my train of thought here, but no, it feels like it uh extremely purposeful, extremely focused, um,
Right.
and like they've all found something in each other that they didn't have alone.
The blockbuster version. This is like the blockbuster version. Like that when I heard Aethiopes, I was like, oh shit, this is the blockbuster version of what they done. The sounds are bigger. This feels like the main event, you know?
For a fairly clumsy comparison, I've been rewatching all the Alien movies.
Mm.
Hate Island feels like Aliens to Drug Money's Alien.
Oh, I love it.
Mm,
I love that.
dope.
That's a
Drug
great
Money
comparison.
is
Yeah.
so much like atmosphere and tension, and Hate Island is just the expansion of that and feels like there's even bigger stakes at play.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's yeah. Big explosions. They wanted to go with the. Can I give you my nerdiest theory on
Yep.
what's different in how Teller is rapping? Okay. So, um, the Ed Glorious uh Wolf and the Walrus album from last year, uh it had I got a chance to do like a written interview with Teller on it. It's on freemusicempire.com. And I was just obsessed with the song Trailing. And I was just like, there's fucking nothing like this. This is fucking amazing. Um, and I listened to Hate Island. The more I listen to Hate Island, the more I'm like, holy shit, Trailing was the blueprint for how he's going to rap. Like
Mm,
it's Trailing was tighter. It was tighter. It was the everything was cut up into more, even more segments. Even more things rhymed. But still, even though it was cut up, even though everything rhymed, everything meant something really important. Everything was pivotal. So it was a short song, but it felt long because there was
mm,
so much in it, so much impactful work. And it wasn't even linear, but it felt that way. Like so that I was like, damn, this is even like Teller can do that, but this is another level of kind of muscle and clarity in it than he was before. And that's to me the difference in the rapping on Hate Island. There's there's
that's
there's you and I guess all of the lyrics have been uploaded to Genius K, so you can read the shit if you want. And
Yeah,
he does a shit where every fucking thing rhymes. It's nuts. And the references, there's double entendres while everything is rhyming. Uh, and there's just cool shit being said, where you're just like, damn, nobody says that shit. Um, and all of it's kind of happening at the speed bag pace of thought. And so to have these incredibly deep ruminations happening at the speed bag pace where everything's rhyming, it's like, holy shit. Um, and that's like to me the biggest difference. I think Teller's the biggest difference. This is not the same Teller of 3 years ago.
mm.
I got to think. I mean, I got to think on that, and I got to go back through the catalog because I only checked the last two, if I'm being
That's
honest. But
cool,
now,
man. That's cool.
but now I will,
If
again.
you if you go to the Grotesque and the Beautiful, the first Ed Glorious album, that's actually like if you're sitting there like, what happens when this guy just does stories and tells stories?
Mm,
That's a much more storytelling album
or
where he's like walking characters through arcs and shit like that. Um, it's amazing. I love it. He doesn't love that album anymore. I don't feel like. I feel like he's said some things about it, but that's natural for creators to do that. But yeah, that's a more straightforward storytelling thing, and he's still at this kind of double. He still does a sing-songy double time kind of at times, but this is like double time point five. Like this is something else. Um, So my nerd theory, does it track Dash or is it or am I off base here?
No, I think that tracks. I mean, I didn't realize that all the lyrics were on Genius. I just pulled up the sheet for Amtrak Trap Trap, which is one of my
Mhm.
favorites. And the the end of that first verse before the beat switches, it says, "All I seen done changed me, how you shame me, blood on the leaves, blood in my eyes, I can't see, sun in my eyes, ultralight beam, please baby, no more parties in Tel Aviv." That is there is so much happening in all those bars, and that happens across the entirety of the record. That's another reason why this you got to keep going back to these things because the depth of the writing is pretty unlike anything else he's ever done. I think I mean, there's blood on the leaves, blood in my eyes.
Mhm.
He's like, and that goes into all the references he does about anti-fascism and like it's a George Jackson book. Sun in my eyes, ultralight beam. Really, is that Kanye or not on the cover? Please, baby, no more parties in Tel Aviv. That's a very political thing, but it relates back to a Kanye thing. Like he's just doing all these, everything folds in on itself on this record in a way that he hasn't like hinted at before. But he's like, I don't know, he's just become like a black hole of lyrics to put it
Yeah.
in a simple way. It's just everything is just he's absorbing and then spitting everything out in these like rearranging the DNA of all these references that he's amassed over the years. It's really remarkable writing.
So like what he'll do, like he has a train of thought style of rapping, right? Where it's like he'll take an expression like two in the hand, one in the bush, and pull it apart and deconstruct and reconstruct it, you know? So that you're like, oh shit, oh the Bush family, oh shit, the fucking, like and he'll go all over the place and put it together in a completely different way, or leave it in pieces. And that's kind of what Dash just wrote is kind of that's that train of thought. Okay, I'm gonna drop all these Kanye references, but then I'm gonna pull them here, political here, and pull them here, revolutionary here. I'm gonna challenge these things. Um, and so because of that, it's a train of thought flow. It's never a studious professorial flow.
I think in a way, bringing it back full circle to what you're saying, like if there is a common element to like these different strains of underground rap, like be it like the more street side or the more post backpacker side, whatever art rap, whatever you want to call it. It is that like sense that rap is so much more non-linear than it used to be, and that's become almost normalized in a way that I think that people that aren't used to it, like, we were talking about like to Gray Funk earlier, like it's similar in that way. It was like your ear has to get used to it. And now all of us in this community, we're like 10 plus years into this style, more probably if you want. Like I always say that like Marsburg is the ground zero for the era we're living in, and
That makes
everything
sense.
has
Yeah.
come out of that.
Yeah,
Like
I'm into that.
um and like even like you're using that like great example like please baby no more parties in Tel Aviv, like even on a West Side Gun thing you'll just get a random like have you ever cooked a brick in an air fryer. That's not a real story, that's not something
Right.
literal. But even like the biggest guy who's like throwing wrestling events and that's got like 3 million listeners on Spotify is operating in this space. And I feel because of that it gives permission for everybody that's like closer to the underground to like, oh, if he's doing it, I gotta go 10 times harder because like that's normal now. And we want to be like at the cutting edge of whatever we're doing.
Right. What are you going to bring to it? If it's non-linear and everybody can be non-linear, then what are you bringing to it? You
And
know?
it's like making it just non-linear enough that it's like really interesting, but not so much that it's like word salad where it's like that's whack. Like people can tell when you're faking it or when you're doing that. Like that's not what it is at all. The same way that like free jazz isn't just like grabbing a horn and doing whatever. It's like there's thought, there's intention to the process.
Yeah. I mean isn't that like kind of Kay, to isn't that what kind of killed the surrealists? Like they were just they were relying on their subconscious, right? Like clear your mind, paint from your subconscious, and I mean their subconsciouses were pretty similar. They were just after a while, you're like, all right, you know, that's cool. Yeah. But like they missed the structure. They missed we ended up missing some linear notes.
I mean, it's hard to form an opinion or judge someone's subconscious. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
then it just becomes a conversation of, oh, do you like it or not? Oh, you like it? Cool. I don't like it. Cool. All right, let's move on.
There isn't much to pick apart. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. There's not if there yeah, and that's kind of and we've had this discussion for kind of last year in terms of how unstructured I feel like hip hop is moving towards, or I'm sorry, underground hip hop, and how that's like so difficult to talk about.
But to me, like Hate Island's a great window into how to do it because there's poignant moments,
Yes. Hmm.
right? Like, and so that's really the key is like, do we have poignant moments to discuss, you know? Or do we have real things to do that are like, I don't know, like, yeah. Because if it's just nonsensical stuff thrown together, you're like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, like the stream of conscious rap. Yeah, I mean that's like yeah, I mean it's cool, but like what are we like? What is how is someone who is not and that's what I think about the underground. Like someone who is not in the underground, a casual listener. I don't know what underground listeners call non-underground listeners. Maybe a normie, like a rap, like rap normies,
Rap
pop,
normies.
pop rap normies. What are they supposed to take from listening to Teller Banks?
Well, so that I'll tell you what makes it different, right? So
Okay.
if you do stream of consciousness, and this is one of the things that in that written like interview from last year we talked about with Teller and his process was like, yes, this is stream of consciousness and thought, but I'm always feeding my brain. I'm always reading. I'm
Yeah.
always kind of watching documentaries or sports or, just I'm all over the place.
Mhm.
So that keeps my stream of consciousness rich, right? Whereas if you're not feeding your brain all the time
Right.
and you're doing this kind of, stream of thought stuff, you're gonna be lost after a bit. You're gonna be repeating your shit because
Yeah.
there's only so much in your head. So you've got to feed your head. And there are rappers where I've told you, Ken, where I'm like, I don't think he's feeding his head the same way. You know? I think it's, we're getting the same stuff. Like it isn't take some time, feed your head, you know? Um, and
I
so I
think
think
there's
I think that's a
also
big part of it.
I think there's also a fascination with just sound itself. Like listen to Teller, and you can hear it in, especially in the new, in Mike's whole catalog, but especially in the Pompeii Utility album, where I think that there's a lot of writing that happens simply because things, not just that they sound cool, but like I'm fascinated with this particular sound of this word, this particular sound of this rhyme, and I want to figure out how to like investigate it from every single angle. Like again on M-Track Trap Trap, there's a couple lines where he says, "Pay me in advance for my time trying to book me. Can't outcook my killers. We came from Cook Street." And like that just continues to cycle over itself.
Mhm.
Right.
And it leads to these like unintuitive, surprising rhymes. Like if you hear Book Me, you're not going to think that the next couplet is Cook Street. But like because he's fascinated with the sound, maybe it unlocks this thing. Like I think he's also originally from Denver. He lives in Des Moines. There
Yeah.
is no Cook Street in Des Moines, as far as I know. There is a Cook Street in Denver. I don't know if that's where he's from, but like just that sound alone maybe unlocked one little memory, and he's like, okay, cool, and then that fits into this thing, and so it becomes this like it's labyrinthine, but it all makes sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, you have to have an interesting mind, and you have to convey it in interesting ways. That the textures are important. Like Dash said, uh, not track 8 uh, about autotune. At the end of it, he just goes into this singing that is
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
And like, whenever shit like that happens, when everybody lands a crazy line or the singing, you can hear people laughing in the back. You can hear that there's a feeling that they're all there making these songs. And that means something. That's different than a lot of people. As you know, Kay, sometimes you can feel that it's an email album, you know?
Oh, yes.
Nothing wrong with an email album. Love a good email album, but like sometimes you can feel you're like, okay, the beats came through. He laced them, sent them back. They did it. Um, and this feels like they're there. And they let the silliness happen. I love every single time Teller and Rent Money do like a Benny and Wes collab, they end up like going nuts at each other's last lines. And you can hear him being like, oh, like you can hear him having a great time with that. And I love that kind of shit. Um, yeah, keeps it loose, keeps it flowing.
the
Yeah.
the Benny and West 3 on this record, the way it ends is so good
Mhm.
because Rent Money like loses his train of thought or something. He's like, oh wait, let me get that last line. And you can hear him practicing in the background, but he still doesn't finish the last line. So it leaves us with this like unresolved tension. And there's a number of moments on the record where that happens, where like I think on the is it the title track where
Mhm.
he after he's like I got my aura from my motherfucking daughters,
Yeah.
and then kind of like starts to go on, then goes, hold on, and then everyone laughs, and like you could tell that if they gave him just one more second, he would have kept going, but they were like, we got it.
Yeah.
It's like Vortal is saying like I don't have an in piece,
Yeah.
and why
Right.
that's so good, why they're like we always go back to that. That's such an iconic moment because it's like, is there ever an in piece? It doesn't matter if there's an in piece. We got
Right.
this moment. That's the most
There's
important
like
thing.
I guess I remember hearing the Action Bronson Party Supply stuff and the Blue Chip series, and like Bronson would fuck up and keep it and start
Yeah.
again, and like it made everything more human and more him. Like only he would do that shit. Uh, and that's some of that magic I think in Hate Island is that it's incredibly smart and it's incredibly loose, you know, and and um and easy to hear. The Now, Kay,
Hmm.
if you asked me, which you didn't, what Hate Island means, I got a whole thing for you. You put it on the back of the vinyl. I got a thing.
Okay.
Hate Island is the medicine dressed as the disease, as the drug, right? Like it's Hate Island,
Edison dressed as the drug.
the medicine. No, sorry, the medicine dressed as the the disease, or yeah, maybe I fucked that.
Edison dressed as the disease. Okay.
So the Hate Island presents itself as this kind of big, like as like, yeah, we're taking all this energy from like the hate on the internet and the hate in America right now, and we're blowing it out. And really, it's a therapy session about surviving, and it's incredibly personal and incredibly poignant. And if you listen to it with any regularity, it forces you to not only have empathy with Teller, but to look within yourself for that shit, to start mending yourself. It's it's the medicine, but it's not. It's dressed as your favorite, treat. Um, so that's I think that's the cool one of the really cool things about it. Because even with all the crazy shit that Teller admits that he's done through Hate Island, like what was the he died, we should dig him up and kill him again, like that kind of shit. Like, um, you would think you'd be like, oh man, this is terrible. By the end of it, you understand him and you're still rooting for him. Like, that's the power of great art. Yeah.
Totally. Uh, it's really random. I also really like this is going to be the most nerdy producer shit. Great use of the ride cymbal on that whole album. Like I was just there and I was like, you don't hear that a lot. Like it's always like, oh, there's no hi-hats anymore. It's like, do we add hi-hats back in? Oh no, you got to make them dill. You can't just put them on the beat. And then it was like, now they're just hitting the ride cymbal every once in a while. And I was like, I haven't heard that in a rap song too much. Like that and the pianos you mentioned, which were even more
Mhm.
present on Drug Game, but like, you know, those little sonic details, like I guess what I'm thinking of is like you have to put out so much music to be a rapper today that like just to get the momentum where people take you seriously. But the trap is like to get past that initial hype stage, you have to kind of elevate what you're doing. And it goes back to what Dash was saying about like the production team, maybe taking like a hard look at what worked about this and where do we take this next. That really did hit me where it's like, wow, this is like a very like as raw as underground rap is and like the trailing off and like that like Wu-Tang thing where it's like, oh, we flub a line, but we keep it. It also has that polish of like, yo, there's a lot of people rapping, but this is the guy that's gonna like make noise this year kind of thing.
Yeah. And the production moment that everybody's been talking about from this is George and Jax,
Mm,
because that is
yes.
wild. That is one of the wildest beats of this year, and really a great example of like no one's doing this kind of stuff. Um, yeah. Any other huge production moments that we should make sure to give love to?
Yep.
Dash, do you have any?
I mean, I was gonna say George and Jax for sure, but
Yep.
honestly, one of my favorites is just the way that it starts because
Second.
it's such a head fake. It just feels like, okay, this is sort of like it's got that Conductor Williams warble and then
Yes.
immediately pivots away from it. And so you think you like they set it up so that you think you know what you're getting, and then you don't get that at all. That
Mm,
idea doesn't come back in that song. That idea doesn't come back in the record. There's a lot of like interesting side chaining stuff. There's a lot of things where like uh they'll let the samples play out, but they're so warped that they almost become kind of noisy. And then that goes back to the sort of free jazz idea that we've been circling
Yeah.
around. Um, there's, I'm so bad with the song titles, but there's like a two-song run sort of in the first third of the record that's like soul samples.
mm,
And
Yep.
haven't heard that style done in a while. And to that, like, it's not an update on that style. That's sort of like fourth disciple, kind of like Wu-Tang satellite member style. And it's really refreshing to hear that. It's really refreshing to hear it done so well. And again, they don't just linger on one loop. They're like taking multiple loops from this one soul song and sort of exploring them. I don't know. It's just it's pretty virtuosic to me.
Yeah. No, I agree. No, it's a hell of a thing, and it's so different in how it sounds. I realized this today. I was like, I never fucking throw these songs into playlists. I never separate them out. If I press play, it's front to back. You know what I mean? Um, and I was like, oh, that means something. Like that's
Hmm.
there's it took me a few listens, Kay, to start thinking about songs individually.
Yeah, it's hard to tear this project apart. You know, I shouldn't say tear it apart, but take pieces away from it. And I'm guessing that was by design. They wanted it to be viewed as one whole project.
Yeah, it's like when they you know, you try to dissect the blob and it just comes back together, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Um yes, it's there. Yeah.
Yeah, the sequencing on this is spectacular.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So that's
Absolutely.
that's a really specific part of the art form that is hard to nail, and they nailed it on this.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, the last thing I wanted to do was and Kay, do you have any other questions?
No, no.
All right. For people who are genuinely like, holy shit, this blew my mind. I need to catch up on other Teller Bank stuff. I wanted to give some recommendations for back catalog stuff that is genuinely really dope. Um, One of them I had said the grotesque and the beautiful. That's where you would go for like linear storytelling stuff. But the other one, underrated, and I've talked about it before. 2023, 7 songs, The Big Lebowski, Story of Eastside Jesus. That was the first one where Teller was like had a very more quiet delivery the whole way through and was still spellbinding. And I messaged him was like, "You put out a fucking folk album. This is fucking unbelievable." Um, I listened to it today. Blows my mind. Donnie's Ashes, incredible song. Yeah, 7 tracks. Give it a listen. Super fun. Uh, yeah. So, uh, Dash, you have any other recommendations for Teller stuff people should check out?
I mean, I really love that album, Black Man, that he did with Wino
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Um, I think, especially the song Tomfoolery that has Gais Guevara on it, just like that's Teller at his hookiest and his like you can see the some of the seeds that sprout on Hate Island start to in terms of like the way he structures his writing, the way he like takes repetitive phrases but tweaks them every now and again.
Yep.
You hear that all over that record. And it just like I think Wino Willie is a really underrated producer. I love the way he finds this really specific kind of knock. And he just Teller sounds so good over those beats. They're all like it's Wino Willie's like some of his more atmospheric work, which really
Yep.
works well for when Teller can be, his voice can be kind of gaseous, kind of like helium infused. He just sounds great on that shit.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great description. Yeah, that is a fantastic project. Um, well, I know Willie doesn't get enough pure shine and love, but I think there'll be a time. The right person, the right album will hit and it'll change. It's happened for Steel Tip Dove. I think it's going to be, like that for Wino Willie. Um, yeah. Does anybody have any concluding thoughts before recommendation corner?
No.
Good.
All right, man.
Oh, I
So,
will
oh,
say,
go ahead.
this will be fun to watch. This crew is starting to do a lot more, and I know that we're going to get an album, with Rent Money for sure, but we're also getting a Rich Jones album that
Oh
this
shit.
crew produced, and
Oh,
it's
nice.
it's really it's great, and it's like it does all the things that you want this crew to do, but then it has Rich Jones's very malleable delivery all over it. It's fantastic.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and there's more people who should hit these guys up, right? Like, if you feel like you're versatile and want to be challenged, this is the way to do it. You know. Um, so yeah, that's awesome. Recommendation corner. Kay, I went to Philadelphia. I had an incredible
Yeah.
birthday present. Shout out to my wife. got me tickets to the 76ers versus the Timberwolves. Um, and everybody was healthy for once. It was incredible. It was
Yeah. I think that was
incredible.
the one game Anthony Edwards played, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So we got it. We and they were so lovely to me, my family. And so I did get to go to Repo Records in Philly.
Mm.
Incredible place. And I copped a bunch of stuff, but I copped of Johnny Blue Sky's new album, Mutiny After Midnight, which is Sturgill Simpson's new band. Interesting thing, Kay, he put it out. He did not put it on streaming. It's not available on streaming. And it's not on Bandcamp. Only physicals.
Mm.
It was only physicals, and it was number 3 that week when it came out.
Wow.
So you know he's already made his money back. He's good to go. I wonder if that'll catch on, man.
Yeah.
Other people got to see that and be like, "Damn, what if I
So what?
did
It
that?"
went to like record stores. I mean, there's not really any CD stores here in America anymore. So what? Like what like stores are selling, or what type of venues are selling physical copies of music now?
I mean, Repo Records is selling it. Like
Okay.
in Philly, Bull Moose, had it
Okay.
in Maine. There's still some record stores, and I guess the counter argument would be, Kay, if more powerhouse people go strictly record store, we'll keep having record stores.
Yes. Yeah. No. For the record, I think it's a great thing. I hope that that makes a return and emphasis, not necessarily just on vinyls, but on CDs as well. Like
Mhm.
people going out to stores to buy music.
Yup. Yup. I've got a lot of good stuff to listen to. I got my I got like a 5 CD thing of Curtis Mayfield stuff.
Nice.
So it includes my favorite live album of all time, Curtis Live. Um,
Great.
Listen to on the road. Uh, the other one was man, I found it one of those things where it's discounted in the store, and I'm like, this is mine. Jackie O's Poor Little Rich Girl.
Check you out.
Oh, that's been a minute since I heard that name. Oh wow. Yeah,
Crazy, dude.
that's like the same era as like Trina, right?
Yep. So
Yeah.
the features on this album: Trick Daddy,
Yep.
Betty Wright, Yin Yang Twins, Jazzy Faye, and Ghostface.
Wow.
Talk about wandering into the wrong studio session. And I'm sure the
Wow.
track is great. I'm sure you had the best time.
Yep. Yep. I love shit like that, man. I love those pockets of time. So I'm excited to bust into those. Also got Soul Station by Hank Mobley. I don't know. There's a bunch of great shit.
Oh, I love that record.
Great record, man. Propulsive, uh,
Yeah.
fun stuff. So, yeah, we're rocking. SonRaw, what have you been bumping?
I'm not gonna surprise anybody on this podcast. Like, other than the stuff I'm sampling, like obviously the Elucid Seb Bash, amazing record. Uh, Possibly Elucid's best for me, definitely, but like just up there. I really like that Pompeii Utility, which was like I was either gonna love that or hate it, but I was like,
Mhm.
this actually like it minimizes the things that I dislike about Mike and Earl, and it minimizes the rappers that I don't really want to hear on Surf Gang production. So like that really worked for me.
Mhm.
Rock Marciano, when
656.
Passion, yeah, 656. When Passion of the Weiss relaunches, I should have a piece on Max B and French Montana's Coke Wave 3.5, which 4 months into the year has a lot of staying power to me. It's just like an outside record, and it's just like I love underground rap, but it's never been like the only thing I listen to. Like I
Yeah.
always, like I was for years I was like the grime guy in the UK, and it's like just hearing like that kind of music makes me like kind of be able to like jump into the more like the side shows and the Niantes and all that. Like I kind of need that balance to appreciate both sides. And yeah, I'm gonna shout out the new Tokyo cigar actually, Palaces for Machines. I got 5 beats on that. Really good record. Everybody else, this kid Adriatic has like two killer tracks, and they're both like the whole album's dope. And I really like how Tokyo kind of like picked from different producers to make this project. Usually does like one producer type joints. But he nailed it. I think it's like, you know, as people hear it, it's gonna go down as one of his best for sure.
Tokyo Cigar also has a great verse on the new Iceberg Theory and Lunar album, The Drifter's
Mhm.
Memoir,
Yep.
which is really fucking good. I
Hmm.
like that album. Yeah. Dash, what have you been up?
Well, I mean, I love the Mike and Earl sweatshirt record. Obviously love this the sideshow record. There's to stay on the Philly tip, there's a record coming out by a band called Basic. It comes out in June. They have a number of other records now, but it's this guy, Chris Forsyth on guitar, Doug McCombs, the bassist from Tortoise on bass, and Michael Patrick Avery on percussion. He also plays with a band called Natural Information Society that is like the best psychedelic jazz kind of krautrock band working. And their music together is super weird and kind of like 80s kind of high life guitar with fucked up electronics and just grooves. So all of their stuff is great. The record that's coming out is really great. Been loving that. Um, really enjoy the new Homeboy Sandman and Aesop Rock record.
The
It's really
Lice.
fun.
Yeah, the Lice.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's been fun to hear Aesop just get into this very minimal production bag. Um, I don't know, they're just kind of barring out and talking shit about conspiracy theories about what's in burgers, and you get a little bit of Homeboy Sandman's weird kind of like libertarian, I don't like vaccine mandate stuff, and I can take or leave that. But everything else is just like it's really fun. Just feels it's just very listenable. And then because I'm in Richmond, I got to shout out the new Nicholas F. album. It's called The
The
Undisputed.
Undisputed.
It's, I mean, to talk about like pretty rote underground rap, the dude is just barring the fuck out over these like very staid kind of like boom bap beats that are all very groovy and hypnotic. And he sounds great. And he doesn't seem to want to do anything but that. And he sounds great doing it. It's just, again, very fun, really cool to hear him just rap. It's really great. I love that dude. I love
Yeah,
that dude's
it's like
music.
he's like, no one does this better than me. Here it is,
No,
right? And
no, there's
so,
no one
yeah,
quite like him.
I
Um,
am on a hunt for Nicholas F. I've emailed him in lots of different places, reached out to lots of different people. I will continue the hunt for Nicholas F. I want him on the show. One of my favorites. One of my favorites. And Kay, with Hate Island, Teller Banks has moved up to 63 on my all-time list. Yep, above Ice-T. So not bad.
Damn. I can't
Not bad.
like I have to make lists for like different eras because like that sort of thing breaks my brain in an uncomfortable way. Like I almost feel like the UK does it too much, where everybody farts different and it's a new subgenre. And in the
Yeah,
US,
they do that.
it's like no, everything from like a breakbeat in 1973 to like sexy drill is all the same genre, and I'm like, no, that's too much on the other side. Like I can't. I go by decade now.
So so to give you an idea, SonRaw, right below Teller Banks, 64 is Idea. Right above Teller Banks is Killer Priest.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Like, I take it you're not gonna have like Nas at number one.
I hate Nas is my least favorite person in my top 10.
Fair enough.
He's so frustrating. He's so fucking frustrating. I can't kick him out.
That's probably an opinion you share with Khalees too.
He's very talented. He's such a dick. You know, I wrote a takedown piece of Nas like a while ago for freemusic.com. I'm like, now he's the guy who sniffs his wine and shit. Get the fuck out of here. Anyway,
But he was doing that like in a pink suit, like in Casino back in '96. You knew what he was about.
yeah, yeah.
No, but I just meant if you're gonna have Idea, Teller Banks, Ice-T, and Killer Priest,
Mhm.
that is an interest. That is like not the average best rappers, but that is like an extremely interesting selection of rappers. Like that's more interesting for me to debate than like, oh, do we put Jay ahead of Nas? Where does Rakim go? It's like, oh no, we need Ice Cube in there. It's like we fucking know, bro. Like I'm
Right.
past
And so
that.
the interesting part is when you start to integrate new people
Mm.
into the list, right? And so like I have Open Mike Eagle over DMX. You know what I mean? Like I have Devin the Dude over Big Daddy Kane. Like, like there's all kinds of weird shit. You just mix people up. It's fun. It's fun to do that. But anyway, Kay, what have you been bumping?
I mean, I liked the only new thing I checked out that Thundercat Distracted album.
Distracted. I like Distracted.
Yes, I like that. And then movie wise, I really enjoyed the drama, the
Mhm.
Zendaya Robert Pattinson movie. I thought that was a really
Oh, cool.
just a really uh, interesting movie. It wasn't what I was expecting at all.
That's cool. The Distracted, the funny thing is, like,
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people react negatively to it. My theory is
Mm.
that Distracted is kind of him leaning into the parts of what he's influenced by, Thundercat, that most people find embarrassing.
Yeah, it's fun. It's
Mm.
fun.
Like he really likes some Michael McDonald. He really likes some like yacht rock style shit. And like that is not all the way popular within the hip hop community. So when he starts leaning
Mm.
into, I'm doing my own kind of yacht rock thing, people are like, eh, eh.
I need
Because,
to check it out
you
now.
know,
Actually, off of that, I'm like, oh wait, now I
Yeah,
might be
same.
into it.
It's fun. Listen.
I love it, dude. I love it. It's just, it's different because I think if you do a hard funk, people are like, yeah, funk. We respect funk. But then you start like being like, no, Kenny Loggins is the inspiration for this. People are like, "Mm." Yeah. So
Nah,
I love it.
I'm there for it. Doom sampled Sealy Dan, like it's all good.
I've seen Thundercat live um, at Newport Jazz Festival. I'll be there for whatever Thundercat does, man.
Yep.
Thundercat's great. Um, yeah, yeah, good times. We were watching The Rooster on HBO.
Oh, how was that?
It's better than it looks like it would be. The trailer kind of makes it out to be like the old guys back at campus getting crazy, and it's really, you know, it takes place at a liberal arts college, and it's Steve Carell as this kind of the guy who writes airport books. You know what I mean? Easy digestible books. And
Right.
he's teaching at this liberal arts college in New England. So it gets to it's the kind of wackiness that like you don't see on TV all the time because it's in that different environment. It's really kind of I don't know. I'm into it,
Mm,
but we don't watch a lot of the crazier stuff. Uh,
cool.
yeah. We're also watching the Godzilla thing on Apple, which is
Hmm.
fun but trashy. Very trashy. My goal for this year, Kay, is to go to the theater and see the Mortal Kombat movie in the theater and see the Street Fighter movie in the theater.
They got another Mortal Kombat movie coming out.
Yeah, buddy.
Wow.
Yep. Yep. And it looks worse than the first one did. I'm really excited. Like,
I mean,
I love seeing a terrible movie in the theater.
I don't know why they would try to top the 1994 5 original with Chris Lambert as Raiden. Like, why would you try to improve on perfection?
Yeah. What was that? There was a Street Fighter movie.
Oh, with Van Damme.
No, not the 94.
Oh,
There was another one. It was like the story of Chun-Li or something like that.
Mm.
And it was in the theater for like a day, and it was terrible. So terrible. And it was such a great time seeing it in the theater. I
I think my
loved
all-time like that is the live action Dragon Ball movie that like
Oh
Toriyama disowned. He was like, I had no creative control over this shit.
yeah. Yeah. No, it's a beautiful thing. Like I watched I mean I saw the Super Mario Brothers John Leguizamo joint in the theater as a kid.
The kid like that.
It was great. And, well, no, I saw that in the theater at the time. I'm not gonna
Oh
put
right,
him through,
right.
I'm not gonna put him through that now. But like yeah, I was thinking my favorite bad movie experiences. Constantine.
Ooh,
Oh my
that's
God.
I mean,
Keanu
so
doing his Dirty Harry voice. Oh my God, I could watch that movie every day. That's such a fucking stupid movie. It's so great.
Yo, I got a work meeting tomorrow, so I'm gonna have to bounce,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Very
thank
good.
you
But I
everybody for
appreciate you
joining.
guys having me on and putting onto this album because it's like really dope music.
Yeah, dude. There's gonna be more shit to come. We
He's
appreciate
on the
everybody.
radar now for sure.
Follow SonRaw on Twitter. Read his stuff, Passion of the Weiss. Follow Dash.
Relaunching soon.
Yep,
When? I don't know. It's, we're on a budget, but we'll make it happen.
yep. Follow Dash.
Possibly by the time this episode comes out. Who knows?
Follow Dash Lewis, the whole thing. Uh, the last thing I would say is, uh, Graham Plattner, it's okay. I knew you had Nazi tattoos when you said you were a Marine. It's okay.
What will tomorrow bring?